I tried my absolute best to get Caleb to switch up his 5 balls to watch to 4 balls to watch so that it fits the element a little bit better. But Caleb sometimes just does what he wants to do. Yeah. And he's tough to reel in. He makes terrible bets, and he says, I'm sticking with 5 because 5's my lucky number. Huh?
I stand on business, Dave.
Big Donovan McNabb guy.
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
All right, so lump these first 2 together because Cooper's telling you to like or subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button, and we'll have Coop on Thursday, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, and he will talk about Bama. So we love doing a pregame with Coop, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, as it is what down, Coop?
Coop here, first down.
Okay. What do you got on the 2 least most important players to watch in Tennessee's game against Alabama? How did I phrase that poorly?
This is hilarious that you want these lumped together because they are the most opposite of opposites you could ever be opposite of. And what I mean by that is one is a walk-on and one set an NIL record for money. Will Brooks and Nico Iamaleava. 5 and 4.
All right.
Now,
it's a big game for Will Brooks. How much faith do you have in him? I actually have a lot. I think his run fits have been really good. But if he gets out of position, especially with Keenan Pili out, then they could give up a big run to Jalen Milroe. And let's not forget this. If Will Brooks tackles Jalen Milroe because he has an angle at the 5-yard line, Tennessee's red zone defense is really, really good. So that could be a tackle that could result in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points.
I agree. And Will Brooks, he is actually not last week. It stood out because it got out of position one play on the 3rd and 18. It was the one mistake he made all game, Dave. But he still had a PFF grade in the high 70s, and he was actually in position most of the time. He's one of the best at staying in position. If he can stay in position this time, I think with Tennessee's pass rush, which we're going to get to, Jalen Milroe is going to throw some balls up for grabs. And I think Will Brooks is the guy more than anybody else capable of coming down with those balls. So that's a big part of this.
Yeah, and let's be honest, because he was a walk-on and probably because he didn't look like other great safeties, we discounted him early in the year. But I think he has a great nose for the football, the needed athletic ability, and he plays physical. I mean, this whole entire defense, they don't just want to beat you, they want to hurt you. Go ahead.
We're playing the stereotype. He plays good, solid, physical, fundamental football, but that is what he does.
Well, but he does. But so did Rashad Baker, but Rashad Baker had more athletic ability. We're playing the Caucasian card, I guess. But
yes,
Will Brooks is also a walk-on, so we're not talking about, Jason Sehorn, if you remember that name, was a cornerback in the NFL. Nobody questioned his ability, and he was white. If you make it to the NFL as a cornerback, you're very athletic.
Like Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Will Brooks was a walk-on for a reason. So we're not just throwing the Caucasian card out there. But no. I absolutely love the way the guy plays. I don't care if he's black, white, green, yellow. It doesn't matter to me. He is a fantastic player.
Yes. Sticking on this list, obviously we brought up Nico Iamaleava. Just being the quarterback, he's going to have to make plays. Now, Alabama is not consistently. It's not like who torches their defense is consistent. Some weeks it's the running back, some weeks it's the quarterback, some weeks it's the receivers. It depends on the situation week to week if you really pay attention to them. It really depends on your strengths more than Alabama's weaknesses on how you torch them. It's just Alabama can't be good at everything at once. That's been their issue on defense. But Nico Iamaleava is still going to have to play well.
Agreed. But that's kind of an easy one. So is Dylan Sampson. He may be on your list. I'm not knocking it. But set us up for the poll question, Caleb. I've got it just on there. I went in a slightly different direction than you.
Let's see. Tennessee's most important defensive player against Alabama is... Well, Dave, can we go through the list? Because you just basically took my list half the way.
Well, tell people how they can vote, who they can vote on.
Just go to YouTube and you can vote whether or not it's Jeremiah Thielander, Will Brooks, James Pierce, or Arian Carter. All right. Next on my...
Second down.
All right, who you got?
I mean, Jeremiah Tielander's number 3 on my list.
That's hot.
I mean, he's
But I think Caleb totally stole mine.
They're like, that is total bullshit.
Yeah.
How did I steal yours? I wrote this last night.
He stole mine. That's what happened. Be sure you're on Off the Hook Sports on all of your free time because we got great content going up all the time, including how Danny White, Tennessee's athletic director, basically said the Vols fan base loves a price hike. All right, what's next, Caleb? Oh, sorry.
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
Third down.
Again, yeah, maybe I did steal yours, but the second most important player in this game is James Pierce Jr. And you can make the argument that he's the most important. Alabama has given up 12 sacks on the year. Jalen Milroe runs a lot, and I don't know if you guys know, last week James Pierce had the highest PFF grade of anybody on the football team, and he is playing. I mean, I can't speak enough to an edge rusher playing this hard when the sacks just aren't there for him to get when that's what he's there to try to do. I mean, he doesn't stop playing.
Yeah, I'm writing a story actually for this afternoon about, and that'll be on offthehooksports.com. I just haven't had a chance to get to it yet, but it'll be how his quiet demeanor throughout September is proof that the Vols have leadership beyond Keenan Pili. And I've talked about the rough upbringing that Pierce had, especially in the offseason. There's a reason he hasn't been more vocal. But he hasn't been more vocal about not making more sacks because he's cool with winning, which says something to me. What down next week?
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. Fourth down.
All right, Caleb.
All right, the most important person in this game is who you already brought up because you just had to name everybody that I put on this list because that's what you like to do. But it's Dylan Sampson. And I mean, I don't think that's any shock. Dylan Sampson is the most important player in this game. Dylan Sampson, guys, he's a 200-yard game against Alabama from being in the Heisman conversation. And I'm dead serious about this. If he goes out against Alabama, runs for 200 yards, 2 to 3 more touchdowns, everybody's talking about that Ashton Jeanty. And by the way, I've seen some of his highlights. He definitely belongs in the Heisman consideration. If for any reason that Reggie Bush won it, and Reggie Bush had no tougher of opponents than Ashton Jeanty had, if you really think about it.
Jeanty's probably going to break Barry Sanders' all-time single-season rushing record. That, to me, is going to be pretty hard to top. It
is. But I'm saying you can if Dylan Sampson hits the 200-yard mark, and he gets 2 to 3 touchdowns, Dave, he's really got to be in the New York conversation next week at that point.
No, I don't have a problem with that. I guess Nico's not in the conversation anymore, huh?
Not as of right now. He I mean, not all his fault, but he's definitely struggling to this moment, and man, that's $100 down the drain. So for me.